Hello, Squiz Kids listeners. Just jumping into your ears at the top of this week's podcast to ask a small favour. We're in renovation mode at Squiz Kids, overhauling our website, improving the Newshounds experience, and we want to hear from you on how we could improve the podcast too. To that end, I'd really appreciate if you could fill out the Squiz Kids survey. I've stuck a link in the episode notes, or you can access it via the website squizkids.com.au. A few minutes of your time will mean the world to us here at Squiz Kids, and make it easier for us to keep on doing what we do. Thanks in advance.
Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, May 20. In Squiz Kids Today, PM declares war on social media. Aussie scientist on Greenland trek. Mustering cattle with a drone. And the alligator that came to school. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has declared war on social media. Yesterday, saying parents all over the country are worried sick about what their kids have access to online. The PM was speaking about plans to launch a new trial requiring kids to prove that they are old enough to access social media platforms and other inappropriate content online. The technology, called age verification, will aim to keep kids off social media until their brains are well enough developed to properly understand the things they might be seeing there. Now, we talked a lot about this last week after the South Australian government said that they were exploring banning under 14-year-olds from social media. And we talk a lot about this every week in Newshounds, our free media literacy program for primary school kids, teaching them to stop, think, and check whenever they're online. The minister in the federal government who is responsible for rolling out the trial of age verification and addressing the concerns of parents and teachers everywhere is Michelle Rowland, who came to see Newshounds in action in a classroom in her electorate, and agreed that educating kids about online harm was an important part of the solution. Yesterday, the Prime Minister told reporters that how kids are being impacted by inappropriate content they come across online is the number one topic of conversation among parents as they stand on the sidelines of football, netball, and school sports right around the country.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Greenland, which is cool because we almost never land there. And by the way, fun fact, despite being called Greenland, 80% of the country is ice. So, not all that green as it turns out. So, why are we there? Because an Aussie scientist from the Sunshine Coast in Queensland is part of a team of explorers on a 560-kilometre trek to the top of the Greenland ice cap, gathering important information as they go about something called snow density. So, why are they testing to see how dense or how thick the snow is? Because satellite images, which means photos taken from space, have been suggesting the enormous sheet of ice that covers Greenland has been shrinking. So the scientists, being curious Georges that they are, and wanting to make sure their data is as accurate as possible, have strapped on skis, and they spend freezing nights in flimsy tents and are pulling great big sleds behind them full of their food and shelter, just so that they can get accurate data on the ground. Squiz Kids salutes you all. There goes the classroom companion clarion. Every Monday, our resident primary school teacher Christy creates some fantastic, differentiated, literacy-based classroom worksheets linked to a story from the podcast. And this week, the worksheets are all about this story. So grab your stopwatches and see how long you can speak on some thought-provoking questions based on this story. Then improve your writing by exploring synonyms and antonyms, focusing on words with both positive and negative meanings. It's going to be a blast. Visit squizkids.com.au to access these worksheets. And teachers, thanks to our new searchable database, if you're ever in need of a podcast on a specific topic or a worksheet for a particular literacy area, simply search the Classroom Companion database. There are hundreds there just waiting for you.
Weird science.
If you're one of our thousands of listeners who lives in the country, be it on a farm or in a rural town, you'd probably be familiar with mustering. When farmers who run cattle or other livestock on their farms move them from one place to another. Now, for a really long time, it used to be done on horseback, with jackaroos and jillaroos mustering the animals and making them move. Then some farms traded horses for motorbikes, and even helicopters, as a way to get the animals to move together in a herd. Now, more and more farms are going high-tech and using drones, with the latest technology allowing drones, controlled by someone sitting thousands of kilometres away, to fly a squadron which, amazingly, herds of cattle respond to. There are even docking stations for the drones out on the farms, so the drones just go back to them automatically when they need to recharge. Just incredible. Maybe there's hope of me sitting here in Brisbane and becoming a jackaroo yet.
Believe it or not.
You've heard of the tiger that came to tea, right? Or maybe the hippo on the rooftop? But what about the alligator that came to school? Because that's what faced a bunch of school kids in the US state of Florida last week when an absolutely huge alligator came up out of the swamp near their school and started strolling along the same road that the kids used to go to school. I've stuck a link in today's episode notes of a photo of the alligator, and it's a whopper. The massive reptile was eventually captured by wildlife officers, which took some doing and quite a bit of a wrestle and a whole lot of gaffer tape before it was relocated. A long, long way away from the school.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What high-tech device are farmers in outback Australia using to muster cattle? Well done if you said drones. Question number 2. In which US state has an alligator strolled past a school? It is, of course, in Florida. Well done if you had your listening ears on for that one. Question number 3. Which country is an Aussie scientist trekking across to gather snow data? Yeah, well done if you said Greenland.
Shout-outs.
It's May 20. Today is National Rescue Dog Day, celebrating all the amazing pooches that are available for rescue in homes all over the country. My dog Louie was a rescue dog, and he's actually the best dog in the world. It's been scientifically proven. Plus, it's a birthday today for the super excellent Aussie gold medal winning Olympic swimmer Kate Campbell. It's also a special day for the following Squiz Kids, celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. James from Prospect, Sophia from Middle Harbour, Indy from Sydney, Bailey from Dubbo, Tracy from Duncraig, Theodore from Inglewood, Blessing from Ipswich, Violet from Perth, Gabriella from Warrnambool, Mila and Sammy from Cannon Hill, Connor and Lachlan from Lura, Emily from Rapid Bay, Annabelle from Balwyn, Mia from Yankalilla, and Ollie from Corrine. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Ollie from the Gold Coast, Ethan from Franklin, Harriet from Essendon, and Shanae from Dacabin. And classroom shout-outs today go to Class 5T with Mrs. Tennant and Mrs. Cooper at Cherrybrook Public School, Class 6A with Ms. Ashley at St Francis of Assisi Catholic Primary School in Tarneet, Class 6 Freeman with Mrs. Dabinet at Parramatta East Public School, Class 6C at South Ripley Primary School, Class 6C with Ms. Nearhoss at Kelvin Grove State College, Room 22 with Ms. Martin and Mrs. Kairos at Wattle Grove Primary School, and Class 5-6 with Gillian at Yarraville West Primary School. And finally, friends, before we leave, a big shout out to the Year 5-6 class at Rapid Bay Primary School in South Australia, and especially to Billy and Cole, who, with the help of their principal Jen, last week rescued a tiny kitten that had been dumped in a bin. After receiving lots of love from the staff and students, the kitten was checked by a vet and has been adopted by one of the staff, who named it Bowser Lollipop, of course. The boys had some great advice, namely that if people have a kitten they don't want, they should take them to a vet for the RSPC to take care of instead. Well said, Billy and Cole, and thanks for sharing your story. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with an excellent Squiz the World episode on Japan. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.